In early July 2025, a series of earthquakes rattled the southern regions of Japan, drawing both national and international attention. The seismic activity was especially concentrated around the Tokara Islands, a small archipelago in Kagoshima Prefecture. On Saturday, July 5th, a notable magnitude 5.4 earthquake shook the waters near Kyushu, which is Japan's southernmost main island. This event was actually preceded by a 5.5 magnitude tremor in the same area just 2 days earlier, on Thursday, July 3rd. The shaking during these events was significant enough for the Japan Meteorological Agency to register it as a lower 6 on the Japanese intensity scale, a level where it becomes difficult for people to stand without holding onto something for support. This cluster of quakes, honestly, created a palpable sense of unease among residents. But following these initial, stronger quakes, the seismic activity didn't just stop. In the 2 weeks leading up to July 8th, the region experienced what is known as an earthquake swarm, with over 1,300 smaller tremors being recorded. This was, without a doubt, an unusually high number of seismic events for the area. Then on Tuesday, July 8th, another tremor, this time a magnitude 4.5, occurred near the Tokara Islands. Now, while these events were unsettling, it's really crucial to note a key piece of information. At no point did the Japan Meteorological Agency issue a tsunami warning. The nature and location of these earthquakes just did not pose a threat of generating a large destructive wave, and this fact was communicated clearly through official channels. The response from authorities was swift and cautious, with the safety of those living closest to the epicenters being the top priority. Given the remote nature of the Tokara archipelago, which has a small population of around 660 people, officials decided to evacuate some residents as a precautionary measure. This action wasn't taken due to an imminent, predicted catastrophe, but rather as a standard safety protocol in a region experiencing dynamic and ongoing seismic shifts. Fortunately, despite the frequency and intensity of the shaking, there was no major damage to buildings or infrastructure, and there were no serious injuries, a testament to Japan's stringent building codes and preparedness measures. It's important to understand that Japan is one of the most seismically active countries in the world. The nation is situated on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an area where several tectonic plates meet, resulting in frequent earthquakes and volcanic activity. In fact, Japan accounts for roughly 20% of the world's earthquakes of magnitude 6 or greater. While the recent swarm in the Tokara Islands was more active than usual, such events are not entirely unheard of. The constant geological activity is simply a part of life in Japan, and the country has developed some of the most advanced earthquake monitoring and response systems globally to manage these natural occurrences. While official agencies were focused on monitoring the seismic activity and ensuring public safety, a different kind of tremor was spreading through social media and public conversations. A wave of anxiety and fear began to grow, not really from the earthquakes themselves, but from a popular manga titled The Future I Saw. Originally published in 1999 by the artist Ryo Tatsuki, the book gained a cult following because some readers believed it had accurately predicted past events, most notably referencing a major disaster in March 2011, the same month as the devastating Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. The manga's re-release in 2021 brought its supposed prophecies to a new and much wider audience. The source of the intense anxiety in July 2025 was a specific interpretation of the manga's contents, which followers claimed pointed to a catastrophic event, a great disaster, occurring in Japan during this very month. As the Tokara Islands began to shake, these rumors just went into overdrive. Online forums and social media platforms, particularly in places like Hong Kong, were absolutely flooded with panicked discussions linking the real-world seismic events to the manga's fictional prediction. The narrative created a powerful and frightening story. The swarm of smaller quakes was merely a prelude to the big one that the manga had supposedly foretold decades ago, causing widespread alarm that went far beyond the areas actually affected by the tremors. The artist, Ryo Tatsuki, found herself at the center of the storm of speculation. As the rumors intensified, she felt compelled to address the situation directly. Through her publisher, she issued a clear and unambiguous statement to the public, hoping to quell the rising panic. She explained that her work was based on dreams she had, not on any supernatural ability to see the future. She firmly stated, "I am not a prophet," and urged people to stop relying on her manga for predictions. Instead, she encouraged everyone to listen to the advice of scientific experts and to follow the guidance of official government agencies, really reinforcing the message that her art was just that, art, not a scientific forecast. This situation serves as a powerful example of how misinformation can take root and flourish, especially during times of uncertainty. The human mind often seeks patterns and explanations, and in the absence of definitive answers, a compelling story can be more persuasive than dry scientific facts. The manga provided a simple, albeit terrifying, narrative that seemed to explain the unsettling, random nature of the earthquakes. This fusion of a pop culture phenomenon with real-world events created a perfect storm of fear, demonstrating just how easily fiction can be mistaken for fact, leading to genuine public distress and confusion that authorities then had to manage alongside the natural event itself. In direct response to the escalating public anxiety and the rampant manga-fueled rumors, Japanese officials and scientific experts stepped forward to provide clarity and restore a sense of calm. The Japan Meteorological Agency, which is the country's primary authority on earthquakes and weather, took a leading role in this effort. In press conferences and public statements, representatives from the JMA consistently and patiently explained the scientific reality of the situation. They emphasized that while the seismic activity in the Tokara region was being monitored very closely, there was absolutely no scientific evidence to support the prediction of an imminent megaquake or a catastrophic tsunami as suggested by the rumors. Ayataka Ibita, the director of the JMA's Earthquake Monitoring Division, became a key voice of reason during this period. He plainly addressed the core of the issue by stating that with our current level of scientific understanding, it is simply impossible to predict the exact time, place, or magnitude of a future earthquake. He explained that seismology is a science of probabilities and monitoring, not prophecy. Experts can identify high-risk areas like the Nankai Trough and estimate long-term probabilities, but they just cannot pinpoint a specific date for a disaster. He urged the public to trust the data-driven assessments from official agencies rather than unfounded predictions circulating online. This message was echoed by other leading seismologists, such as Robert Geller, a professor at the University of Tokyo. Experts like him have long worked to educate the public about the limits of earthquake prediction, explaining that the geological processes that lead to earthquakes are incredibly complex and occur deep within the Earth's crust, making them impossible to observe directly in a way that would allow for short-term forecasting. They stressed that the swarm of tremors in the Tokara Islands was likely related to the movement of volcanic magma deep underground, a known phenomenon in the region, and not a guaranteed precursor to a legendary catastrophe. The contrast between the two narratives was really stark. On one side was the sensational, emotionally charged story from the manga, which offered a simple but terrifying certainty. On the other was the careful, methodical, and honest assessment from the scientific community, which acknowledged uncertainty but was grounded in decades of research and data. While the scientific explanation might have been less dramatic, it was based on reality. The efforts of the JMA and other experts were crucial in providing a reliable counter-narrative, aiming to arm the public with facts and reason to combat the spread of fear and misinformation during a genuinely unsettling time. The consequences of these rumors were not just emotional. They had tangible, real-world impacts, particularly on Japan's tourism industry. Despite Japan seeing a record number of visitors in April 2025, the numbers began to dip as the rumors gained traction. Tourist arrivals from Hong Kong, where the manga prophecy was especially widespread, fell by 11% in May 2025 compared to the previous year. The fear was so pronounced that Hong Kong Airlines actually made the decision to suspend its flights to Kagoshima and Kumamoto, two areas in southern Japan, citing low demand. Tour operators also reported a significant drop in bookings for July, showing just how unfounded fear can directly harm local economies. This incident really underscores a vital lesson for everyone living in or visiting a seismically active region: the critical importance of distinguishing between reliable information and baseless rumors. Official sources like the Japan Meteorological Agency, local government alerts, and national broadcasters are dedicated to providing accurate, up-to-the-minute information. These organizations use a vast network of sensors and teams of experts to analyze data and issue warnings when necessary. Relying on these channels for information about earthquakes, tsunamis, and other natural disasters is the most responsible way to ensure your safety and the safety of those around you. Speculation on social media, no matter how convincing it sounds, just lacks this scientific foundation. Being prepared is essential, but preparation should be based on official guidance, not on panic. In Japan, this means knowing your local evacuation routes, having an emergency kit ready with water, food, and medical supplies, and securing heavy furniture in your home. These are practical, effective steps recommended by disaster management experts that can make a real difference in an actual emergency. Panicking because of a rumor, on the other hand, can lead to poor decisions, create unnecessary stress, and strain public resources. The goal is to be vigilant and prepared, not perpetually anxious and fearful. Ultimately, the events of July 2025 serve as a powerful reminder to stay informed, but to do so wisely. The Earth will continue to shift, and Japan will continue to experience earthquakes, as it always has. By trusting in science, listening to the experts, and following official instructions, we can navigate these events with resilience and calm. Let us learn from this experience to ground ourselves in facts, not fiction. Stay prepared, stay informed through trusted sources, and do not let rumors shake your sense of security. Your safety depends on reliable information and rational action.